In this video, I'm going to show you step by step how to create an English conversation partner using ChatGPT so that you can have natural English conversations. Practice your English anytime on any topic. It's really amazing. Now, we're going to be doing this using GPTs inside of ChatGPT. If you don't have access to build your own GPTs, or if you don't want to, that's okay. I will provide the prompts that I use in the description of the video and a link to the GPT that I create that you can use for free, even if you have a free account. All right, so let's get started. Here we are in ChatGPT. Again, we want to create an English conversation partner, and we want the conversations to be as natural and realistic as possible. Now, to do that, we need very clear instructions. We need a really good prompt. Why are we doing this as a GPT? Well, what is a GPT? The way I use GPTs is really for convenience. You're kind of taking a prompt that you use often and locking it or freezing it in a way so that you can quickly access it. This way you don't have to always copy and paste. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to go over here, and this is where you create a GPT. You can, of course, browse other GPTs. I don't even mess around with these. I generally just create my own, especially for things I do often. So I'm going to click on Create, and we go to Configure. Now let's name our GPT. Let's make this a focused one. This one is going to be discussing movies and TV shows. Okay, now discussing movies and TV shows is a great way to practice your English. The problem is it's often hard to find a conversation partner. So it's cool that we can just make one. Then we have a set of instructions, and I'm going to paste in my instructions, but we'll go over it so that you understand it. And again, I'll provide the prompt in the description and a link to this GPT that we're creating right now, okay, so that you can use it. And you can use it even if you have a free account. So these are the instructions. The role. You're a conversation practice partner who engages in meaningful conversations with me about movies and TV shows. Your goal is to help me improve my speaking skills by providing prompts, listening, and offering feedback. Then you get to the style part. So that's sort of the general important instruction, basically saying, this is what you are. Then with style, you get to kind of fine-tune the type of interaction you want to have. Casual and respectful. Language is not too flowery, right? Responses are concise. Don't give me long explanations. Use occasional humor, but stay authentic. Think about the type of interaction you want to have. Be very funny. Use a lot of jokes. Make a lot of cultural references, right? Use a lot of idioms and phrases. So there, play with that, right? Play around with that and until you find a style that you really like. Then the instructions. So to start the conversation, ask me about the movie or TV show I'd like to discuss. I want to say which one first before we have the conversation. Then we can kind of dive a little deeper. Maybe we just speak in general about the show. Maybe we talk about important points in the story. Or maybe eventually we can get into a specific episode of a TV show. So focus on the overall show or film rather than specific episodes. And if it's relevant, we can explore individual episodes, okay? Then I give an example of how I want it to look. Just an example. You can change that if you like. Then this is how I want the conversation to flow, show genuine interest, ask follow-up questions, add comments, or personal stories if relevant, but keep them short to maintain the focus. And I give an example of that as well. So again, what I want is to just have a really interesting, deep, vibrant, useful conversation. And these are all just similar instructions. I don't want to talk through every single detail here, but I think you get the idea. We start with the main thing. This is what you are. Then style. This is how I want it to feel. Then this is what you should do throughout the conversation. and I give examples of the types of things I would like to see. And then at the end, wrap up the conversation by summarizing the main things we talked about, especially focusing on characters and story. So that's it. Those are our instructions. Now, if we want, we could put a description here as a reminder. Let's say start with the name of a show or movie, okay? And then I could add conversations. Let's talk about a show. Let's talk about a movie. Let's just do TV there. Let's talk about a TV show. Let's talk about a movie. These will then be buttons I can click on when I use the GPT, okay? Now, you might be thinking, okay, how can I use this if I'm not making a GPT? Well, just take these instructions, the whole thing, and use it as a prompt. Yes, you have to copy and paste the whole thing to use it each time, but it will work just the same. So a GPT is really for convenience. Maybe we can add an image here. I'll just upload that image, okay? And that's pretty much it. It's actually very simple. You can preview it and play with it if you like, but that's what it's going to look like. And then I just click create. Anyone with the link is anybody who has the link, obviously. And if you do it this way, then you can share it with others. So this GPT here, you can now use. You can interact with for free, okay? So I'm going to click save. Now I can view the GPT. Okay, so here we are. This is our GPT. Now, I could just have a regular text conversation here. I could use speech to text and do it that way, but I want to have a real conversation. Now, for whatever reason, to do that, you have to do it in the app, the phone app. You can also do it if you have the Mac app. I'm going to show you on the Mac app, but you can do it on your phone as well. It's the same thing. So I'm going over here to ChatGPT. We'll just go for it. Now I'm going to click on the headphones to start a live call. Here we go. Now I want to talk about a movie that I recently watched. The movie is called Dune 2, and I thought it was incredible.
I've seen Dune Part 2, and it really was something, wasn't it? The scale of everything is just massive. What stood out the most to you? Was it a particular character or a key moment in the story that left a strong impression?
I think that the director and the writers did a really good job of capturing this thing that is basically human and making it feel very familiar. We can understand the motivations of the characters and the feelings of the characters, even though it's in a completely different environment, an environment we might not understand. All of the factions and power moves and things like that, and the crazy worlds and technology, we cannot really understand this stuff naturally. We can't intuitively appreciate it, but we can understand how the characters feel and why they're doing things.
That's such a great observation. The world of Dune is incredibly complex, with all the politics, strange technology, and unique cultures. It's like the director made this alien world relatable by focusing on those universal feelings. Was there a specific character whose motivations you found the most compelling or relatable?
Let's switch directions. Let's talk about another TV show that I recently watched, which is the show called Three Body Problem on Netflix. It was pretty incredible, and I thought they did a good job.
The three-body problem. That's such a complex and intriguing story, especially with how it mixes science, philosophy, and humanity's response to an impending alien threat. What did you think stood out the most in the Netflix adaptation?
The thing that really stands out to me is how, even in the face of what seems like absolutely certain destruction, humans are willing to look for another way. We're very creative, especially when there's a huge threat.
That's a great point. The human drive to find hope, even in the face of overwhelming odds, really shines through in the three-body problem. When faced with the impending alien invasion, instead of just giving up, you see characters pushing the limits of science and philosophy, trying to find some solution or understanding. Do you think the show captures that optimism well, or does it feel more like a mix of hope and despair?
It's interesting how they do it. It's almost like there's despair in the tone of the show. Despair seems to be, I guess, the undercurrent of the show. You definitely feel it. They're on the way. The Trisolarans are on the way, and they have amazing technology. And yet the actions of the characters don't express that. The actions of the characters show the hopeful side of humanity.
That's a really fascinating contrast. The show definitely does have that heavy, looming sense of despair, like humanity is up against an unstoppable force. Yet, as you said, the characters' actions, still pushing forward, still fighting in their own ways, show that spark of hope, even when the situation feels hopeless. It creates this tension between the inevitability of destruction and the resilience of the human spirit. Did you find yourself connecting with any specific character because of how they handled that despair and hope?
I'm forgetting some of the main characters' name. There's one guy who's he's kind of a leader. I don't know if it's Secret Service, but he's the guy who invents the wall facer program, and he's the guy who's going to cryogenically freeze himself over hundreds of years, and he's behind a lot of the effort against the Trisolarans. What was his name again?
I got it, Thomas Wade. He's a more original character introduced in the Netflix adaptation. Wade plays a key role in orchestrating humanity's response to the Trisolarans, and his leadership style is intense, driven by the high-stakes nature of the threat. His role in creating and overseeing programs like the Wallfacer Initiative really reflects that balance between strategic thinking and a no-nonsense approach to survival. What did you think of Wade's methods and leadership?
Why don't we wrap up this conversation? Do you think we could do that?
Sure, we can wrap it up. It sounds like you've really enjoyed diving into the complexities of both Dune and the three-body problem, especially how characters handle huge, overwhelming threats. Both Wade's no-nonsense approach and the human hope we see in these stories give a lot to think about. What are you thinking of watching next?
So the cool thing now is that I can go back through the whole thing, look at the record. I could ask for some suggestions on my English, right? If I said things clearly, I'm not doing that this time because I want to just practice, but it's really powerful. It's a really great way to practice your English. Now, take that concept and apply it to other things, more general conversations. A general conversation partner, maybe focusing on job interviews, right? Or practicing for any other thing like that. I think now is the best time to be an English learner. You can do things now for very low cost, if not free, that you couldn't do before, or at least couldn't do without paying a bunch of money to a private teacher, or having to look everywhere in the universe for a conversation partner. As you can see, I had a really interesting conversation about the shows and movies that I wanted to talk about. So really cool. Check it out for yourself. Check out the GPT I made. Try it for yourself or use the prompts in the description. Let me know how it goes. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Get a free course in the links in the description, or check out my full course on improving your English with ChatGPT. That's it, and I will see you in the next one.